Felicitous greetings, fellow fanatics. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Adam Fanatic, and today we're taking a look at Challengers the Realm, a dueling TCG by Challengers Media. As with most trading card games I look at, I will be treating the starter decks as complete experiences, though I will be touching on deck building at the end. Without any further ado, let's dive in. In Challengers of the Realm, players will take on the role of one of four factions vying for victory. To set up, you'll have a 40 to 60 card deck. You'll also want 2d10 and something to write with. Alternatively, you can download and use the official app if you'd like, in which case, the only thing you need is your deck. Both players will start with 100 HP. Make sure you also have room for your grace total, though this will start at 0. Choose a player to go first, then shuffle up your decks and draw 6 cards each. Before starting the game, each player has one opportunity to mulligan. Choose any cards that you don't want, discard them, draw to replace the same number discarded, then shuffle the discarded cards back into your deck. And with that, you're ready to begin. In Challengers of the Realm, you can win via one of 3 methods. If you can reduce your opponent's HP to 0, if you can deplete their deck of cards, or if they start 3 turns in a row with negative grace, you'll emerge victorious. A player's turn consists of 4 phases, beginning with the Upkeep. On each player's first turn, you'll simply roll 2d10 and add the result to your grace total. This is what's known as rolling for grace. On all future Upkeep phases, you'll start by turning all of your activated cards back to their ready state by rotating them so that they're facing upwards. After that, you'll be able to choose twice between rolling for grace or drawing a card from your deck. These may be done independently of one another. So for example, you're allowed to draw one card, then see what it is before deciding if you want to roll for grace or draw a second card. After that, you'll move on to the Prepare phase. Most cards can only be played from your hand during this phase, with the exception of Instants. At this time, you'll play heroes and banners directly to the field or equip tools to heroes. There's also locations. These aren't included from the starter decks, so I don't actually have any to show off. To play a card, you must pay the grace cost shown in the lower left-hand corner. When a hero first comes out, place them upside down. You can't activate a hero the turn that they're played, but they can be used to defend during your opponent's turn. I'll explain heroes more in a moment. When a banner is played out, simply place it out where it will remain active until something explicitly destroys it. Every banner has its own self-destruct effect that your opponent can trigger. So for example, Poem of Rebirth allows you to return a hero from your infirmary to the field once every 3 turns. After that happens for the first time, your opponent may choose to discard 3 cards in order to destroy the poem. Tools, on the other hand, are played to heroes that are already on the field. Each hero has an Incada value. In addition to being used for other effects, this shows how many tools they can equip. A hero with 5 or less Incada cannot equip tools. A hero with 6 to 10 can equip 1 tool, 11 to 15 can equip 2, and if they have 16 or more Incada, they can equip 3 tools. Additionally, if you see the symbol of a sword in hand, that means the hero can equip 1 more tool than their Incada value would typically allow. After the Prepare phase, you'll move on to the Engage phase, where you'll have the opportunity to attack with your heroes. You won't be able to do this on your first turn since your heroes won't be in ready positions, but let's skip ahead a few turns to give an example. In this case, the Weaver player has played Author of Peace, Exert of Chords, and Scribe of Protection. They may attack with any or all of these cards, but must declare all at once in which ones are attacking. In this case, they swing in with Author of Peace and Exert of Chords. Since the Scribe is better suited for defense, they choose not to attack with him. At this point, the Bringers player must choose which attacks they wish to block. In order to block, they simply choose a hero to engage the attacker. The author has the ranged ability, so she can only be blocked by characters with the shielded ability. To this point and purpose, Aldenting Curator is used to block the attack. In the lower right hand corner of each hero, you'll see an attack and defense value. In this case, the author has 10 attack and the curator has 14 defense. If the defender's defense value is higher, then they successfully stop the attack and nothing more happens. The Bringer player now has a choice. Both the Bringer Monk and the Novice Researcher have less defense than required to defeat the Exert's 16 attack. They can still choose to block with one of them, but if they do so, the hero in question will be sent to the infirmary, and any tools they have equipped will be discarded, but it will prevent them from taking damage to their HP. If they don't block, then they'll simply take the 16 attack as damage to their HP, which is what they opt to do this time in order to keep their heroes available for the next turn. Generally speaking, combat will always be one hero against one hero. When discarding cards for any reason, keep in mind that you'll have 2 discards, one for your heroes, called the Infirmary, and another for all other cards, called the Reserve. After the engage phase, you'll move on to the respond phase. Nothing inherently happens during this phase, but some effects will trigger at this time, and you may choose to play instant cards now just as you could during any other phase. As a reminder, instants can be played at any time you can afford their costs, including during your opponent's turn, unless they state a specific time that they can be played. After the respond phase, play passes to the next player. Turns will continue back and forth like this until one of 3 endgame conditions is met. If you run out of HP, if you run out of cards in your deck, or if you start 3 consecutive preparation phases with negative grace, then you lose the game. If you can force your opponent into any one of these positions before that happens to you, then you've won. There are 4 starter decks available: the Bringers, Envoys, Originators, and Weavers. Each has their own flavor and specialties. So for example, if you like the idea of playing a mill deck, try the Bringers. Each starter deck has 45 cards consisting of 20 heroes, 13 tools, 5 banners, and 7 instants. But of course, like any TCG, you're intended to build your own deck. All decks must consist of 40 to 60 cards. The number of copies you may carry of a specific card is limited by its rarity. If the circle behind a card's cost is bronze, it's a common card and you may include up to 3 copies. Silver means it's an uncommon, you may include up to 2 copies. And gold means it's rare, you may only include 1 copy of it in your deck. Each card belongs to a specific guild, as shown to the right of their Encata value. You may mix and match heroes of different guilds, but keep a few things in mind. Firstly, tools are only usable by certain guilds. So for example, Hollow Armor shows a single symbol may only be used by the Originators. Magnetic Mallet is also made by the Originators, but has all 4 guild symbols, so it may be used by any faction. Meanwhile, Tuning Fork has 2 symbols. This shows that it's created by the Weavers, but may also be equipped by the Bringers. In order to include instants or banners in your deck, you must have at least 10 heroes of the same guild in your deck. Finally, you may only include a single location in your deck, and it must be from the same guild as the majority of your heroes. Presentation-wise, the only thing to really talk about are the cards. They're standard size and thickness for TCGs and have a smooth finish. Print quality seems to be pretty good, and the characters have a bright, cartoony look. By contrast, backgrounds are often much more detailed, with the Weaver banners in particular showing off some impressive landscape images. While I am reviewing and scoring the starter decks as a standalone experience, the developer did provide 2 booster packs. Each booster pack contains 10 cards, so let's see what we got. Each pack has a chance of having 1 legendary card. Legendaries are always holographic. Meanwhile, all other cards have a chance of having a holographic variant, such as the 2 you see here. So clearly I didn't pull any legendaries, but I did get Jawbone. I can't help but wonder if this is a reference to Samson, who used the jawbone of a donkey as a weapon, especially with just how powerful its effect is. If you want to try Challengers of the Realm for yourself, the devs have made a tabletop simulator mod which includes not only all 4 of the starter decks, but also includes a box with 200 booster packs with which you can build your decks or even simulate a draft mode if you wish. There's also a dedicated digital adaptation in the works, which should be available very soon. I haven't had a chance to try it myself yet, but I will be sure to include a link once it's available. All in all, Challengers of the Realm is, honestly, not for me. As I've stated before, I am fairly critical of TCGs on a conceptual level, and this one did not manage to win me over. That being said, there are some things in here that I do rather like. Being able to take some extra card draw, or instead forgo it for an extra roll, does give a lot of versatility to your upkeep phase. However, rolling for grace itself is one of the weakest parts of the game to me. I do of course understand the concept of a normalized distribution, that 2d10 will tend towards 11, but all the same, a game can absolutely be decided by good or bad rolls. I've seen the designer claim that this is somehow less random than major TCGs out there on the market, and I have to vehemently disagree. I don't know about the current state of Magic, but as for both Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh!, there is so much extra card draw and deck searching at tournament level that players these days are more likely to complain that they're too deterministic rather than too randomized. Back to Challengers itself though, I do rather like that the quantity of a card that you can keep in your deck is limited by its rarity. To go back to Pokemon as an example, if you're running a Charizard deck, you need 4 copies of Charizard for your deck to work. By limiting rare cards to 1 copy per deck, this does mitigate the issue of having to search for multiple copies of a super rare, awesome, chocolatey, fudge-coated Mega Super card. But all the same, you will have to hunt down cards. I believe there is an audience out there for Challengers. However, I am not part of it. As for myself, I find Challengers of the Realm to be worthy a mediocre 6.4 out of 10. Challengers of the Realm is coming to Kickstarter on October 24th. If you're interested in backing or learning more, links are included in the description. But what about you? What do you think of Challengers of the Realm? What TCGs have you played? If you have any questions, remarks, or opposing points of view, leave them in the comments down below. And don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and ring that bell. If you really enjoy my work, please consider funding my channel on Patreon. Until next time, farewell, fellow fanatics. Thank you again for watching. I have plenty more to share with you if you're interested. You can click up here above my head to subscribe to my channel. You can click over here on my monitor to see the most recent video that I've worked on. Or if you prefer, you can click up here to open this mysterious vault and see what video that the YouTube algorithm has picked just for you.